When did you learn that good things come to those who wait? I discovered my wife was cheating when the kids mentioned Uncle Steve had been helping mommy feel better at night. The betrayal hurt worse than anything I'd ever felt, but I knew staying would destroy me, so I filed for divorce. During the proceedings, I practically begged her to be reasonable about custody. She looked me in the eyes and said, "I would never keep your children from you." For 6 months, she actually kept her word, and we fell into this decent routine where we'd exchange the kids every Friday without any drama. She'd even text me little updates about their school days, and we managed to sit together at their soccer games like normal divorced parents. But then I pulled up for my regular Friday pickup, and there was a for sale sign in the yard, and the house was completely empty. I actually fell to my knees on their lawn because I knew she'd done it. She'd actually taken my kids. I called her phone over and over, but it just rang. When I gave up, I noticed the notification for a voicemail that came at 6 a.m. Her voice was casual, saying, "We've relocated to Seattle for Steve's job and the kids are already enrolled in school," like she was telling me about changing their soccer practice time. I sat in that driveway for an hour dissociating because she'd been planning on moving 3,000 miles away for months while looking me in the eye every Friday. The next morning, a process server handed me court papers claiming I was an absent father who prioritized work over my children, and I realized she'd also been documenting my business trips. I kept calling and texting, begging to just hear my kids' voices. It actually took 3 days for me to get through to her. She answered, and instead of explaining anything, she offered monthly video calls like she was being generous. I accepted, and she passed the phone to my 8-year-old. He cried instantly, "Why can't we see you this weekend?" My ex immediately answered, "Daddy's too busy with work," then hung up on me. My calls wouldn't go through after that, and she texted that I had just used up my call for the month. I was so pissed and refused to let her get away with this. So the next week, I liquidated my entire 401k to pay a lawyer who told me I was fighting an uphill battle, but at least we could try. I quit my traveling job that I'd worked so hard for and took a local position making 40% less. All this was to show the court I was prioritizing my children. Every other weekend, I maxed out credit cards to fly to Seattle, and my kids would run to me in the airport like I was returning from war. We spent weekends in cramped hotel rooms making blanket forts and eating McDonald's because that's all I could afford, but they didn't care because we were together. Those weekends were perfect until Sunday drop-offs when my ex would make sure to say things in front of me like, "Daddy doesn't live here. This is just vacation. Remember that your dad is Steve now." I'd just smile through it while documenting every text where she denied me extra time. After 2 years of never missing a single visit, the judge finally granted me a week each summer, and when my kids got older, they started asking why mom lied so much about me. I was glad they didn't fall for her lies, especially because she couldn't even acknowledge how hard she made all of this. But her karma came a year later. My phone rang at midnight, and when I heard her crying, I almost hung up because I didn't want to deal with her drama. But she begged me not to, and I reluctantly stayed on the phone. She sobbed that Steve had cheated with some girl from his office and left her for this 25-year-old who didn't have kids. Then she said the words I never thought I'd hear from her. She actually asked if I could take the kids temporarily while she got back on her feet. When I asked my kids what they wanted, they both said they were tired of her drama and wanted to stay with me permanently. The judge reviewed my 3 years of perfect attendance and gave me full custody with her getting every other weekend. Now she flies from Seattle twice a month complaining about how expensive it is and how unfair the schedule is. But I don't care because the kids are thriving with actual stability, and she finally understands what she put me through.